Alright, fourth or fifth time is the charm. Finally we're getting this thing working. Alright, so we have America's entry into World War I. As we know, the United States is desperately trying to stay out of World War I. But we also know that they end up getting involved in the war. So the question is how and why. And that's what we're looking at today. How and why did this happen? One of the big causes is the sea. The sea ships carry the world's goods for trade. Currently, today, even 80% of goods in the world are traveled by ship. So, the ability to travel freely and safely on the sea is of great importance, especially to the United States. The United States is saying we are neutral, which means we are allowed to trade with anyone. However, some nations do not believe in this, namely England, who are saying, well, we don't want you to trade with Germany because we're fighting them, and Germany saying we don't want you to trade with England. So both countries are actively trying to get the United States to stop trading with the other. And the Germans are a bit more forceful than the British, and they use what's known as a U-boat. A U-boat is a small submarine, as you can see right here. And the U-boats, what they're doing is essentially attacking ships that they believe are involved in trade, especially in weapons, or if they are carrying troops. Now, it's fairly difficult to know if a ship is carrying weapons or troops from under the water. So there starts to become incidents where Germans are attacking ships that perhaps they should not have been attacking. And the major one is the Lusitania. Lusitania is attacked off of the coast of Ireland. It sinks after being hit by German torpedoes, killing 1,200 people, including a great number of American citizens. This really turns a lot of American people against the Germans. Up until this point, the country has very been divided. Not only saying we don't want to get involved, but also if we get involved, whose side should we support? At this time, 1915, we have a third of the entire population of the United States, 97 million people. A third of them are immigrants from Europe, or they are descendant of immigrants from Europe. So these people have very strong feelings toward countries in Europe. And it's divided. So the United States, up until this point, very much is no one knows which side to support. At this point, however, public opinion very much shifts towards supporting the Allied countries. And the Allied countries would be England, France, and Russia. There's still some support for the Central Powers. Austria-Hungary, Germany, and Italy gets involved with them as well. But this support is dwindling, and these countries have a very bad propaganda campaign, so they don't get much support for them. So America's angry. It keeps getting worse as Germans hit another ship called the Sussex. It's another passenger ship, and the Germans are saying, these ships are also carrying weapons. Yes, they have innocent passengers on them, but you're also carrying weapons. And that means they are enemy combatants. While they keep saying this, other people are saying, well, that might be true, but you're also sinking a ship that is killing a number of innocent people. So after the sinking of the Sussex, the Germans say, all right, we're going to stop attacking merchant vessels. And they do for a while. And in that time period, Woodrow Wilson, he is up for re-election. It's the election of 1916, and as you can see on this pin, his big campaign is that he's staying out of the war. So war in Europe, peace in America, God bless Wilson. People are very happy that they are not involved in the war in Europe. It's a deadly and very dangerous war. We've seen the trench warfare, how bad it is. So that's his main focus on his campaign. He's also done a lot of things in regards to the progressives. He's fought for an 8-hour workday. He outlawed the sale of goods that have been produced by children. So he's protecting the workers and protecting their rights. So he's getting a lot of people also behind him on that sense. And he wins. He wins re-election and continues to be president. However, at the very beginning of his presidency, of his second term, he starts getting more and more pressure to go into war. Namely because, as you can see here, the Germans are resuming their unrestricted submarine warfare. The Germans are under the belief that if they cut England off of supplies and shipping, that it will strangle England and they will give up the war. So more ships are being attacked. This is actually a photograph from a German U-boat of a sinking ship. And this is coupled with what's known as the Zimmerman note. The Zimmerman note is sent by the Germans to Mexico. And the Germans are, this is actually a copy right here of the note. The Germans are proposing an alliance with Mexico. And as it says, we're going to make war together, make peace together, generous financial support, and an understanding on our part that Mexico is to reconquer the lost territory in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. So what Germany is suggesting to Mexico is that they are going to form an alliance, and if they do so, they will help Mexico get back this land which Mexico sees as being taken from them, and in many senses is true. So this is intercepted by the United States. And suddenly the war becomes something that is solely over in Europe to one that is getting very, very close to American shores, to American land. And this frightens the government and frightens the press. Once the press get a hold of this, well, people are demanding war. Coupled with that, more ships are sunk by German U-boats, and the Tsar Nicholas, the head of the Russian Empire, he abdicates the throne. There's a revolution going on in Russia. He leaves his position, and the revolutionary government is saying that they are going to withdraw troops from the front, which means Germany now is not fighting on both sides. It's not fighting this two-front war where it's fighting Russia on one side and England and France on the other. It can focus all its attention on France and England. So Wilson is looking at this from afar saying, well, this is bad. We need to help. So once the Zimmerman note, the public get a word of it, coupled with more sinkings of ships and essentially Russia withdrawing from the war, the United States decides that it's time to get involved. And the House, as you can see from this newspaper, they pass a resolution to go to war. The Senate does the same. And finally, the United States is entering into World War I.